Bashing and demonizing Israel is a path to fame, fortune, audiences, attention, and unlimited fawning followers. The evil of hatred against Jews or anti-Semitism lies dormant at times, never dying, just waiting for the right opportunity to emerge. October 7th showed the world once again that it never went away. It did not matter that there was a Holocaust. It did not matter that the majority population of Israel, Jews from the Middle East and North Africa, experienced their own ethnic cleansing, persecution, occupation, and theft of their lands, properties, and for many, their lives. October 7th showed that given the opportunity, thousands of people will murder, rape, loot, steal, kidnap, mutilate, and commit atrocities against defenseless people, including children, babies, the very old, for no other reason than that they are Jews. For thousands of years, the most basic rules of civilization enshrined in the Ten Commandments, do not murder, do not bear false witness, have served as the glue holding humanity together. When these basic and most fundamental of commandments had been thrown to the wayside, what resulted was Hitler's genocide and world war, Stalin's genocide, Rwanda genocide, Yazidi genocide, Armenian genocide, the Khmer Rouge genocide, genocide in Darfur, Congo genocide, war and horror in Syria, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia, Myanmar, North Nigeria, and much more. Lies, defamation, bearing false witness, demonizing, dehumanizing, opens the door to murder. Murder is a grave evil, as are torture, mutilation, rape. The demented excuses to justify these evils are nothing more than that, demented. Billions of people the world over live on lands that are occupied, stolen from indigenous people, lands that were colonized, conquered, forcibly taken. If land theft, occupation, true or not, are the excuse to murder, then why is it selectively applied to the Jew alone? Jews themselves have been murdered, massacred, occupied, persecuted, ethnically cleansed, had genocide committed against them numerous times throughout history, had their land stolen and occupied. The well-fed, well-armed, well-clothed Hamas and their allies murdered and committed atrocities. No amount of whitewashing, excuses, or anything else erases the fact that this is wrong and evil, and yet there they are by the millions, defending, excusing, and justifying murder and all of the atrocities committed on October 7th. The argument from the alleged scholar and others that grown men from Hamas and company were forced to rape, kidnap, murder, and mutilate because they were oppressed is beyond morally bankrupt and disgusting. Hundreds of millions of people the world over experience extreme oppression and suffering, many times far worse than what people have experienced in Gaza even now, and yet they are not raping, murdering, kidnapping, and committing atrocities. About anti-Semitism, the alleged scholar argues that it does not exist in the United States because Jews in the States have no institutional barriers against them. There are no institutional barriers against any group in the States, including Jews. That does not mean that racism and anti-Semitism does not exist. There are plenty of physical and verbal attacks against Jews in the U.S. and elsewhere for the mere fact that they are Jews. These numbers have increased greatly since October 7th. The alleged scholar is a darling of many anti-Semites, a Jewish-born man with no connection to Judaism, religiously, culturally, or ethnically. He serves as a token Jew that validates the hate and defamation of Jew haters or anti-Semites. Anti-Semites want simple narratives, black and white narratives that excuse the gravest of evils. The eagerness to deny the existence of anti-Semitism is about an insidious belief held by far too many Jew haters on the left that if Jews are perceived as victims, they can no longer be demonized and murdered as oppressors. Lastly, murder and war are not the same. Hamas wanted this war. They built billion-dollar tunnels below ground and not a single bomb shelter above ground. They wage war using civilians as their human shields. They deliberately attack and murder the civilians of the enemy they hate, and they willingly sacrifice their own civilians that they hide behind and beneath. There is not a military expert or anyone else on the planet that knows how to fight an enemy such as this without there being civilian casualties. The only way to end civilian casualties is to end war, not to be one of the many cheerleaders for more war or violent, phony resistance.